Let's talk about some of the biggest beneficiaries, perhaps, of GST rationalization, and the derivative of that definitely is the real estate sector. And who better than Mr. Irfan Razack, the chairman and MD at Prestige Group, joining in on the show to talk about exactly that. Mr. Razak, great to have you on ET Now. Good morning, firstly. Mr. Razak, with GST rationalization likely bringing cement and paints down to 18%, how is it that you see this impacting overall project costs and margins, not just for your company, but the overall industry as well?
Yeah, I mean, if GST does go down the way we are thinking it should, it'll be definitely a big boon to all the companies and to the customer itself, because the biggest beneficiary will be the consumer. Because if the cost goes down, automatically the selling price just does get corrected. I do hope they bring in the input credit for real estate, which is the most important one in this. Right now, after the credit got removed, straight away the cost went up straight away by 18%, which was a huge hit. And that obviously the consumer had to pay for it, apart from paying the pass-through of 5% GST, which is on the selling price. So effectively, directly and indirectly, the consumer was paying 23% GST, apart from stamp duty and other costs, which was actually a big blow to the consumer.
All right. Morning, Mr. Razak. This is Shrishti also joining in. But to the point that you were just making, that if at all GST has a role to play the way that the industry participants are looking forward to, analysts do believe that it could lead to a price drop by 2 to 4%. Would Prestige look to pass on this benefit to the buyers or retain the margin, retain some margin improvement over there? What are your thoughts on the same?
No, I believe, see, any benefit that the company or the industry gets, automatically it will get passed on. Now, what happened when got removed? The consumer was the biggest loser there, because the cost had to be picked up by someone, and it had to be the customer, the end buyer. Similarly, if there is a reduction in cost, automatically there will be a reduction in price. But there is no such thing as an MRP and then the price reducing by X%. But directly or indirectly, it will benefit the customer, and it will also, there will be surely a pass through, and the entire industry will do that, not only a single company.
Right, Mr. Razak, hi morning. This is Nehi also joining in. Now, Mr. Razak, we've recently heard that luxury cars are going to be taxed in that 40% GST slab. Is there any chatter on ground that luxury housing could also maybe fall in the same GST slab? Do you think that's a realistic possibility, and how would it impact the luxury housing market and a large part of your portfolio as well?
I really don't know. As it is, luxury and non-luxury are taxed very hugely. And if in case some benefit has to be given for the non-luxury housing, I think there should be a big slash on the entire cost itself, because as it is, the housing itself is very, very, very badly taxed. And I think any more tax on this will definitely be a big burden on who was buying a house. And how do you define luxury? That's another thing. Where does the luxury start? Is it on price? Is it on size? Every region, every city has a different price point. So that becomes very difficult to control. So it's just speculation.
Yeah, we'll see actually what comes out of the final announcements on GST. But Mr. Razak, what is your sense or gut feeling? Do you think you are going to be revising your guidance upwards for your pre-sales overall?
See, we have been doing well. The first quarter, of course, you've seen the numbers, and we are pretty happy with what we did. I would say that's a spillover of what we didn't do in the previous year. And hence, that's why the numbers look so robust. And as we go ahead in this quarter and the next two quarters, we believe a reasonable numbers, what can be achieved and what is real is what we have guided. That's around the 25K mark. And if there's anything excess that happens, it's, as I told you, it's only a spillover of what was the shortfall for the previous year. And we have to gear up for the future years as well. It's just not a one-time thing. And the company and the team has to keep working hard to see that the pipeline is maintained. Though the demand is quite there, and all we need to see is that we get the right type of product to the right audience. and in, of course, the right location, and that will keep the business going.
Well, indeed, we have been hearing out the interesting announcements about your company, but in the latest, can you share the details of that 12,500 crore rupees pact with the Maharashtra government for data centers and GCC parks and the timelines for the execution?
Yes, I am very confident and I'm very sure that the need of the hour is data centers. And I believe that data centers will make a big impact. And that's the reason why we had this conversation with the Maharashtra government. And they were quick to understand this. And that was what helped us to do this. Of course, it's still a long way. It's just an MOU that we've signed. We have to identify and we have to make sure that this whole thing happens and makes it real. We are very, very serious about it, and we are very serious that that these data centers have to be built, and of course, even the GCCs. There's a big demand from GCCs also. So we have to work together, and we have to make sure these things happen. And the other sector also that is quite lucrative in the sense that there is business in that is the logistics. So all these three require land in good locations. Of course, for data centers, you also need huge amount of powers, which the government has promised. I think with this, we should be able to really set up a big, strong data center in Maharashtra, which will make them into a different level.
Right, and Mr. Razak, shifting focus to your hospitality arm, Prestige Hospitality Ventures has received SEBI's nod for a 2,700 crore IPO. Help us understand what's the expected timeline and to what tune is the stake sale from the parent going to look like?
Yeah, now the hospitality IPO, the team's been working hard. The road shows have been on, and we have been meeting investors and analysts and the whole lot and the bankers. And I believe that we are more or less at the end of the roadshow season also. Once this is done, it's only we have to go to the again regulatory motions. We have to file the RHP and we have to get the final nod. And then, of course, it's process. So I believe, say, starting from now, 4 weeks from now, we should be done with the IPO. And that will we'll have a separate company listed under Prestige Estates. Prestige Estates will be the promoter company, and Prestige Hospitality Ventures will be a separately listed hospitality company. The idea here is to see that there is a focused activity on hospitality. I believe hospitality has come of age in India, and there's a huge demand, and there is a potential, and we want to cash in on that potential and create value for our shareholders.
Well, indeed. But along with that, Mr. Razak, your maiden NCR launch Prestige City, Indrapuram, that clocked over 7,000 crores revenue in sales, and we have seen the numbers trickling in. But what does this response signal? And do you plan more launches in the NCR region or any new geographies that you are planning to tap?
We always knew that NCR was a potent market. There was a huge vacuum, and we filled up that vacuum. We want to make a difference in how things are done in that market. Basically, the only thing is see that there should be a focus on delivery, focus on customer centricity, and also making sure that we give what we promise. Now, it's easy to say what we are saying, but the main thing will come in when we deliver. So we are actually, the teams are really working hard to see that we get to the delivery part. Of course, the delivery happens in 2029. But I think we start well, it'll end well also. And we are on it, and I believe it should do. And yes, since the first launch has been good, which we expected it to be that way, we are looking at various options, various opportunities, and we do believe that we can make NCR a very strong base and complement all the other players that are there. And we don't believe that we compete with anybody. We only complement and grow the market and make the market stronger and bring in consumer confidence again in the industry.
Okay, good to hear that, Mr. Razak. As always, great having you on ET Now.